Good morning, good day, or good evening, and welcome back to The Rabbit Hole. Today's video is going to introduce our ghost types for the region. Mind you, it's not like an early route Pokemon or anything like that. I would say probably like early to mid-game. But without further ado, let's just kind of get into it. So for this one, I kind of had the idea, Slowpoke and Slowbro and Slowking, the whole Slow line is one of my favorite Pokemon, and I don't know why. I've always loved them. But the shell on their tail was supposedly like a Shelder, right? But it never looked like a Shelder. And I was just kind of looking at it one day and decided I wanted to make a Pokemon out of it. So this one's kind of based off of that shell. And also on the idea that like the creature that grew the shell originally like died. Because we never really think about it when we're going down the beach or when we're off, in the rivers or what have you, that when we find these little shells and stuff, we're like, oh, it's so pretty. Yeah, but it's like the corpse of a creature, we never really think of it that way, but it's kind of beautiful that something grew this shell, like especially like hermit crabs, right? Like something grew that shell, lived its whole life in it, and then died, and then another creature comes by and uses it to also live out its life and like do the same thing. And I don't know, I thought that was really cool and like a really beautiful aspect. And this Pokemon actually drew a long time ago. He's on my Instagram still, but I just kind of wanted to redo it in this style, in this video format. So this is a complete redraw. I went with my normal style of watercolors and colored pencils and some lighter line weights, and I feel like maybe I'm getting slightly better at the Pokemon style. I'm not sure. When I look back at some of my older drawings, they definitely have a little bit more depth and they're not as flat, which I'll take it. Any improvement is any step forward is movement forward, and I like that. But yeah, I didn't really have anything too special to say about this one other than he's obviously a little ghost mollusk. Originally, I was gonna make him look more like a snail, hence the little antenna there. But then as I started it, I don't know, the haunter aspect and ghastly aspect really got me. But here we go. This is Sheldo, and that is obviously Shell, Shadow, and then in the middle it says, like, if you take off the S and you take off the W, it's like a Heldo. That comes from held on, like they've held on to. Like they've held on. They're not moving on. So the name comes from 3 different places, but Sheldo, the haunted shell Pokemon. Its ability is Cursed Body, and I thought maybe like the hidden ability could be like Perish Body. I kind of played with the idea of making like its own ability, but as I sat there and kind of did that, it just seemed a little too overpowered, to be honest. But yeah. I really like him. I did add a little bit of seaweed, kind of looking like it's just got caught up in there in the shell, and that will come in to the next evolution a little more obviously. I'm having a hard time with the Pokédex entries themselves, like the little paragraphs. I'm really great at, like, I like to design and draw and think about, but at the same time I'm not making a game, and so not all the Pokédex entries have like really come to me yet. So I'm still working on this one. But let's move on to his second evolution. We're doing a 2-parter video today. Alright. So for this one, I was trying to keep that original shell design, but I wanted it to look more like a conch shell. I guess just a larger shell. I had the idea that it would, him being, a water type and a water ghost type, I was like, well, what if he's like a seafaring captain, or a buccaneer, or like a pirate, Davy Jones basically. So I kept the shell as the hat basically, and then the seaweed came out a little bit to mimic hair and like other joining like materials. And then his name is Geistropod. When I originally created this Pokemon, the first stage was called Geistropod, and I was having a hard time coming up with the second name. But then Geistropod just honestly seemed like when I said it out loud and I looked at the little guy, like that little guy didn't need to have such a strong name. So I changed the first stage into Sheldo, and then we have Geistropod here. I kind of had the idea that maybe like these little shells on his feet, or there's another phrase that his feet are supposed to look like shells, like kind of attached to him with seaweed. Same thing with his chest plate and his like what are those? Not pauldrons. Pauldrons are on the shoulders. The ones on the hip. Anyway, but I wanted to keep that whole like shelter shell aesthetic, so that's why he's got all the little purple shells. And then I also wanted to pay homage to like the shelter evolution whenever like they bite Slowpoke. So we also have those on his hands and pauldrons and his hat. But yeah, it was nothing really super fancy. I just kind of thought that it would be pretty cool to have like this ghost of like all these different sea like creatures, these little mollusks kind of come together and create like a symbiotic entity. I don't know. I hadn't decided if maybe this was an evolution or if maybe this was like a swarm form of the first kind. But either way, I really liked the direction it went. So let's just get right on into that. Geisterpod, the Wraith Buccaneer. His ability is Shell Armor, obviously, and then his hidden ability would be Iron Barbs. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing this one. Oh, and as far as the shiny goes, I did lean, I took the shells back to more like the blue color, because when I was looking at some of the older like concept art for Shelter, he was more of an indigo color and less of a violet. So the shiny is kind of both of those. But yeah, this is my Wraith Buccaneer Pokemon. I felt like he was a good addition. My region has a lot of water around the outside edge. It's an island continent, so there's a lot of water. And then there's also some lighthouses that kind of play into the region and everything as well. So I kind of wanted a nautical themed Pokemon, and I thought like Ghost Water would be a good addition. Because so far I only ever think of, whenever I think of ghost like water types, I can only ever think of like Delmise. And that's cool and all, but like maybe they could be like companions or like partners or some shit. I don't know. That's all I have for today's video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I didn't have the Pokédex entries ready for this one. I really just kind of wanted to show off my designs this week. I do have my map video. I'm thinking about just posting it in separate pieces because honestly, like so far it's like an hour long. And I don't think I don't know, I'm just having a hard time with the format. I've redone it a couple times now and I'm unsatisfied, so I don't know if I should do it as a quick time lapse or if I should do it as like a slow process of like as I'm creating each area, like tell you what I was thinking in the creation, or if I should go into more of like a region explanation while the map creation is playing. But either way, I am going to be doing that regardless of which format I choose. It will be probably this week or next. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, and hopefully you'll come back and see the rest of my region later on. Thank you. Bye!